In this section, I and my colleague, Associate Professor Halil Acar from the Department of Anatomy at Ankara University, will cover the important anatomical structures which are encountered during the posterior part of the extra-elevator abdominoperineal excision, demonstrated in this perineal and pelvic anatomical dissection on two cadavers. Before starting, once again, I would like to thank Halil for his cooperation and support throughout this project. Halil and his technical team's contribution to this project has been invaluable. I would like to start by asking Halil to say a few things for this section.
Ayhan, thank you very much again. I am very honored to have been part of this project, as I said before. With this project, me and my team collaborated with Ayhan, and now we have this incredible training package. I hope everyone in this field will make use of this masterpiece. Thank you, Ayhan.
Now, if we are ready, I will start presenting the perineal and pelvic anatomical structures on two cadavers. Surgical incision from coccyx to perineal body is performed around the anus as in live surgery. Following the skin level, the terminal branches of the internal pudendal vessels and nerves are demonstrated. This animation demonstrates the relationship of the anatomical structures and the surgical planes. Here, the dissection plane between the scrotum and the anal canal is shown. During this dissection, superficial transverse perineal muscle can be seen here, underneath the perineal body. At this level, the branches of the pudendal nerve innervating the perineum and the scrotum are exposed. These nerves have to be protected during the dissection. In order to demonstrate the anatomical structures, perineal skin is elevated on the second cadaver here. Here, coccyx and anacoccygeal ligament are seen. Following the elevation of gluteal fat tissue, anal sphincter complex and the anus are exposed. As we remove the fat tissue on the left ischianal fossa, the branches of the internal pudendal vessels and the nerves are viewed. To have a better view of the ischianal fossa, the gluteus maximus muscle is elevated laterally. The animation presents the important anatomical structures. Following the removal of the obturator internus fascia on the left side, the pudendal canal, also known as alcock canal, is viewed. Pudendal nerve and vessels are seen in this canal, as well as the inferior rectal vessels and nerves. Coccygeus at the top and levator ani muscle underneath this muscle forms the pelvic floor, as observed at the lateral border of the ischianal fossa. In order to have a wide surgical margin during APE, extra-elevator dissection plane is pointed here with colored needles. Now, turning to the pelvic anatomy, extra-elevator dissection plane is pointed here with the tip of the needles. Surgical dissection plane and its relation with the coccyx and the autonomic nerves is now demonstrated in this animation. Now going back to first cadaver perineal dissection, neurovascular branches are transected at the ischial fossa in order to enter the dissection plane. Extra elevator dissection plane makes its way outside the external anal sphincter and the levator muscle. Transection of the sacrococcygeal ligament and the start of the dissection at the extra elevator plane is seen. Surgical swab inserted at the end of the abdominal part is removed from the perineal wound and the mesorectal fascia is exposed. On the second cadaver here, surgical planes are demonstrated. To achieve wide surgical margin, pelvic floor muscle must be removed en bloc with the mesorectum. For this, levator muscle is transected at the border of the lateral pelvic side wall. Again, turning to the pelvic anatomy, the animation shows surgical excision plane. Here, extra elevator excision plane transects the sacrococcygeal ligament. At the surgical plane, the lateral and the median sacral vessels form a network around the sacrococcygeal joint. Here, hypogastric nerve on the pelvic side walls is observed. Transection of the coccyx might cause surgical bleeding at this point. Moving back, posterior dissection is carried out from the posterior to anterior at the lateral border of the pelvic wall. Rectum is removed from the perineal wound. As demonstrated, back to our first cadaver, we can see the anterior peritoneal reflection between the bladder and the anterior wall of the rectum. On this cadaver, rectovesical fascia, in other words, Denonville's fascia, between the urogenital organs and the rectum is left intentionally in situ for demonstration. Denonville fascia is now observed from the abdominal view. This fascia, extending from the lateral pelvic fascia, merges with the fascia propria recti at midline. The animation shows the anatomical relationship between the Denonville's fascia and the pelvic organs. Now, let's go back to the second cadaver. For a wide surgical margin during extra elevator APE, pelvic dissection must be completed before reaching the pelvic floor. The aim of this is to leave the levators on the mesorectal fascia. However, this video shows a common mistake during mesorectal dissection for standard abdominoperineal excision. If the dissection goes all the way down to the pelvic floor, this will form a belly formation, in other words, waist formation on the specimen, endangering the lateral margins. Sharp dissection has to be performed under direct vision between the rectum and the prostate. During the extra elevator dissection, the inferior rectal vessels and the nerves which supply the sphincters are cut. Then the specimen is removed. Onto the first cadaver, rectovesical fascia, also known Denonville's fascia, is clearly observed between the urogenital organs and the rectum. The cut edge of the Denonville fascia is retracted laterally. Following its division in the middle, this allows us to observe the ductus deferens, seminal vesicles, and the prostate from the perineal view. The capsule of the prostatic gland is seen in front of the Denonville's fascia. Returning to the second cadaver here, cuttings of the extra-levator surgical plane, parental vessels and nerves are observed. Autonomic nerves and its relation with the surgical planes are also shown from both the perineal view and the abdominal view. Again, from the perineal view, ductus deferens, seminal vesicles, and prostate are clearly observed. Here, note that because the specimen was removed earlier, the cut edges of the autonomic nerves are exposed. This animation demonstrates the pudendal nerves and vessels, the urogenital organs, and the pelvic autonomic nerves. Each urogenital organ has its own autonomic innervation. Deep branches separated from the pelvic plexus merged and formed the autonomic nerve plexus next to prostate. These nerves, which lie in front of the denominator's fascia, are shown at the lateral border of the prostate gland. And now, once again, each urogenital organ, which has its own autonomic innervation, is demonstrated from the abdominal view. Going back to the first cadaver, this animation shows the relationship of the surgical plane and the perineal body. Cut edge of the levator muscles, the transverse perineal muscles, and the perineal body are exposed. As shown here, autonomic nerves that pass the pelvic floor connect with the nerves from the pudendal nerve and innervate penile erectile structures. These nerves lie very close to the anterior dissection plane of the abdominoperineal excision. Therefore, these autonomic nerves must be protected.